All right, today we're going to look at selecting an appropriate display, and basically this lesson goes on for a little while. We're only going to look at two different kinds, but basically we're looking at graphs. We're looking at different graphs because different graphs give you different information, and they're useful for different reasons. The ones that we probably know the most are like bar graph and pie chart, but those aren't great for everything. So we're going to go over just a few graphs today, and then in our next lessons we'll go over a few more because there's a lot of different kinds of graphs out there, and it's important that you're able to read them and important that you're able to use them to communicate. So let's go and get started with our first graph, which is the line plot. All right, the first graph is called the line plot, and a line plot is great for showing off frequency. Showing frequency or how often things occur, right? So if you want to know, so let's just do an example, and that should that'll probably help you out here. So do this with me. You're gonna draw a number line to start, and let's say this graph that we're making represents the hours of TV you watch on a day per day on average. So let's see. Can you guys put in the chat how many hours of TV or any streaming that you do, Netflix or YouTube, we'll count all that. So that you're watching something, okay, that you're not gaming, you're not sleeping, you're not eating, like how many hours a day on average? I know the weekends are different than school days, whatever, but just put a number. I'm assuming it's less than 6, hopefully, but anyway. Good. Put in the chat like how many hours a day do you think you watch TV or you're watching Netflix or YouTube, whatever. Okay. So, and we're gonna go ahead and put that in. So I've got someone said 0. Okay. Go ahead and put in the chat. How many hours a day do you think? Just a guess, just an estimate. If you want to just think about how many hours you watched yesterday. Okay. And we'll put anything that's TV related, so streaming services or anything like that. All right, let's see. What else we got? Okay, someone else said 3 hours a day. Okay, I've got a 4. I've got another 3. Okay, thank you. Okay, I've got a 5 in the chat. Thank you. All right, someone else said 3 hours. Some said another 4. Okay. Somebody said just 1 hour a day. Okay, good for you. I probably do more than that myself. All right, and like that. Okay, cool. Thank you. So this is what we call a line plot because I plotted all the X's there, and I'm saying, so I can look at this data and I can say, you know what? Most people watch 3 hours a day. Or how many people watch 3 hours a day? There are 4 people that watch 3 hours a day. Or I can say, how many people watch more than 1 hour? So I would just count all the people that are more than 1 hour, right? So 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, right? So that's what you have to do. You have to be able to look at the graph and say, okay, what information can I glean from that, right? So we can even put some of these things out here and say, okay, so 3 hours, how many people? Well, we just count 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 people have 3 hours. More than 2 hours, we count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So this gives an idea, and it's easy for us to compare different things like that, okay? Using frequency. So again, this is good because the numbers are there, and it makes it easy for us to look at, right? So this is a line plot. Line plot. Let's move on to our next graph. Our next graph is called a line graph. And a line graph is great for showing change over time. Okay. So again, we can't use a line plot for everything. We can't use a bar graph for everything because, and you'll see right now how a line graph is useful for showing change over time. Okay, change over time. How did something change over a period of time? So let's do this. You're going to draw this graph. And let's just say this is your math grade. So let's start with September, then go to October, November, December. We'll do one more. We'll do January. And let's put the percentage on this side. So here it is 60%, 70, 80, 90, 100. So times on the bottom, percentages on the left. So this graph is great for showing, again, how things changed over time. So let's go ahead and I'm going to plot some points. I'm just going to make up some data here. So let's say in September, right, we had spent a few weeks. You were still not great with this whole distance learning thing. So you didn't start out so hot. So maybe you started like down here, maybe around the C range or a little bit lower. In October, you're like, you know what? I'm going to do better. So you started to make up your assignments and we started to get a grade, and we're in more of like a C plus B minus range. And by November, you're like, oh, you're doing really well. You finally got everything in. You did your AR. Everything's good to go. Now, December came along, and all of a sudden your mind switched to just Christmas. I just want to listen to Christmas music all day long. You didn't do any of your homework, so your grade dropped down a little bit. And then January, you made a New Year's resolution saying, you know what? I want to start off the year strong. We had a new semester, so our grade started up and was really high in like the mid-90s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these dots. I'm going to say, okay, so this is a trend of how you did over the course of the school year. You can see how as time went by, how your grade fluctuated. It went up, it went down, it went up again, right? This is a great way. The line graph is like the best way to show how things adjust and change over time. You'll see a lot when people are comparing prices of things like, oh, you know, the price of something went up during the summer, but then it goes down during the winter, or something like that. Like as time goes on, right? You'll see that, right? If you want to see like when was the biggest time that you had a growth spurt, you might chart all your years, right? It's like, okay, when I was 5-year-old, I was this tall, 6-year-old this tall, 7-year-old this tall. And then you're going to find that maybe there's this one that was like a really big jump. And that one should keep going up and up and up until you hit your height, right? So the line graph is perfect for showing how things change over time, okay? So these are two different graphs. They do very different things, right? I can't do change over time with line plot, but I can show how many people watch TV or different frequency number things. For the line graph, I can't do the things like show how frequently things happened, but I can see how things changed over time. So these are just two of the graphs that we're going to go over. There's lots of other graphs, but we'll just stop there for now.